In the Earth's surface, 79% is only water and we have lands of only 21%. When the vegetation which is covered is removed, then the soil is exposed and the soil erosion can take place. The nutritive value of the plants or the vegetables also will be different depending on what is the fertility or what is the quality of soil which is available. In the ecological pyramid, it goes on getting concentrated from one trophic level to the other. Hello my dear students, welcome back to the last session on the chapter Natural Resources. Today we are going to study about the food resources. Food, as we know, is a very essential requirement for survival of life, and main components are carbohydrates, fats, proteins and minerals as well as the vitamins which we get through food, isn't it? So, what are we going to study here? Types of food supply is the first thing which we are going to study under food resource. What are the different types of food supply is there? First one is the crop plants. The grains which we are going to get from the crop plants like rice, wheat, maize, jowar, etc. are the first type of food resource we have. Okay. Second type is the rangelands. It produces 17% of world's food, that is from trees as well as from the grazing animals. Okay, that is, what do we get from trees? It's usually fruits which we get, and from the grazing animals you can see it can be meat and milk what we are getting, and such food supply we call it as the food from the rangelands. Okay, next we have the food from the oceans, that is the fishes or the fisheries what we call, which has 7% of the world's food. So what you can understand here is the maximum percentage of world's food is coming from the crop plants, that is 76%, and 17% from the rangelands, and only 7% from the oceans, that is fisheries. Okay. Next we have the world food problem. What is the world food problem that we have? In the Earth's surface, 79% is only water and we have lands of only 21%, and this 21% comprises of the mountains, the deserts and all the other type of terrestrial ecosystems which are there. Out of this 21%, very small amount of land is available for cultivation to grow crops, and the amount of population explosion that we are facing now, the population and the crop what is being produced, to balance that it's becoming quite difficult. Also, because of the problems like soil erosion, land degradation, desertification problems, and then deforestation, then we have waterlogging, the salinity of water of the land is getting spoiled, the fertility of the soil is getting lost. All of these problems are again leading to world food problem or scarcity of food. Okay. The urbanization is affecting the agriculture as well as the production of rice, wheat, corn and any other vegetables are becoming difficult because of the population, and the percentage of land which is available for cultivation is not matching really very well. Okay. Next is about the different problems which is giving rise to food supply. Okay, or why do we have the food problem? One is because of overgrazing. What exactly is overgrazing? It's a process of eating the forest vegetation without giving a chance to regenerate. Continuously there is grazing of these animals which is happening on the land, and there is no time given for the generation of new vegetation. Nothing is allowed to grow really because the animals are continuously grazing on these lands. So this will finally lead to soil erosion and land degradation, and then the desertification process. So we have to prevent this to save ourselves. Okay, and also the effects of overgrazing, you can see, as I told you all, the first one is land degradation, second is the soil erosion, third is the loss of useful species as well. Okay, now what exactly these are? See, effects of overgrazing, that is land degradation, we will learn. What is land degradation? Overgrazing removes the covered vegetation. When the vegetation which is covered is removed, then the soil is exposed and the soil erosion can take place, and the soil moisture is also lost. And when the soil moisture is lost, when the land cannot hold on to a lot of moisture, nothing can grow there really, and it will again lead to desertification. So overgrazing leads to poor, dry and compact soil, and also land cannot be used for further cultivation at all because there is no moisture which is left, or the soil has lost the capacity to keep up the moisture or grow any kind of vegetation, and it will lead to desertification. So this is the first effect which we have. Next is about the soil erosion and loss of useful species. Soil erosion, as I have explained, there is cutting of the trees. In the process, the topsoil can get eroded by wind and by the rain, and you can see there is land degradation which can take place. So soil erosion, where the most fertile soil is lost due to the wind as well as water when there is deforestation. And the loss of useful species, if you see, the overgrazing affects the plant population and their regeneration capacity, and overgrazing replaces the plant of high nutritive value with the plants with the low nutritive value. So we have the difference in the species which grows when there is enough amount of fertile soil, and the species which grows when there is no enough amount of fertile soil. The nutritive value of the plants or the vegetables also will be different depending on the what is the fertility or what is the quality of soil which is available, isn't it? So the useful species can be lost in the long run in this way. So these are some of the effects of what? Overgrazing. Next is about agriculture. What exactly is the definition of agriculture? Agriculture is an art, science and industry of managing the growth of plants, animals which are useful for humans. Okay, this is the main definition of agriculture. When we tell agriculture, we think only growing crops is agriculture. Not necessarily. It's an art, science and industries which helps in managing the growth of plants as well as the animals. Okay, it includes cultivation of the soil, growing, harvesting crops, breeding, raising livestock, dairy as well as forestry comes under agriculture. So what are the different types of agriculture we can see? There are two basic types of agriculture. One is traditional agriculture as well as modern or industrialized agriculture, where we are using modern equipments for agriculture purposes. Next, we'll go into the details. What exactly is traditional agriculture? Small plots, simple tools, surface water, organic farming or organic fertilizers are used, and mixture of crops consisting of traditional agriculture, and they produce enough food to feed their families and to sell it off for their income. That's all. Okay, so then we call it as traditional agriculture. Here new modern equipments are not used. It is not done for commercial purpose. It is enough to feed themselves and to sell so that they'll have some income for themselves. That is traditional agriculture. If we talk about the modern agriculture, the seeds which are used are hybrid seeds. The equipments which are used are modern equipments and high technological equipments. Lot of fertilizers they can use, pesticides and water to produce large amount of single crop for commercial purposes can be got from modern agriculture. So that is the difference between traditional and modern agriculture. Next, we have the effects of modern agriculture. What are the problems which are arising due to modern agriculture? First one is problems by using fertilizers. Under that, excess of fertilizers causes micronutrient imbalance. The nutrient which is there in the soil, what is required? The plants require nitrogen or some metals, or they require a lot of nutrients which is there in the soil. And in the soil, there is deficiency of small nutrients which is required. Small amount is required for the growth of the plants in a very well mannered. Okay. For example, we can take in Punjab and Haryana, the soil is deficient in zinc. Okay. And because of that, the productivity of the soil is reduced. So this is one of the examples. Next is blue baby syndrome or nitrate pollution. The nitrate, what is there in the fertilizers, goes and reaches the water bodies, and if the water is consumed by babies, okay, it will turn their skin light blue, okay, and that is called as blue baby syndrome. Excess amount of nitrate can also lead to death of the baby. So this is called as nitrate pollution and causes what syndrome? Blue baby syndrome. Okay. Next is eutrophication. I've already explained about eutrophication. The nitrogen and phosphorus, what is there in the fertilizers, as I told you, when during irrigation we are adding water, these fertilizers ultimately reaches the water bodies. That is, it can reach the lake, a pond, or it can reach even the rivers. And when it reaches there, the plants, what is there in the aquatic ecosystem, starts growing really well, and only plants grow, they utilize all the oxygen what is there in water, and due to that the oxygen is not enough for the aquatic animals, and the aquatic animals will start dying because of the process of eutrophication. So there is excess of plant growth which is affecting the other growth, or it inhibits the growth of fishes in the particular lake or pond, is called as eutrophication, which we have already studied under water pollution in water resources, isn't it? Next is about the effects of modern agriculture by using pesticides. Okay. The pesticides, when it is used, what exactly happens? Death of non-target organism. You might be adding the pesticides to kill only one type of, organism, but then it might be a poison to other organisms also. So there might be many 2 or 3 types of organisms which are dying because we have used a particular pesticides. Okay. Also, it can give rise to super pest. What is this super pest? For example, there is a pest for which you have added the pesticide, okay, and you're using the same kind of pesticide for the same pest over and over again. Then the pest gets resistant to the pesticides which you have been using. Now anymore that pesticide will not kill that pest at all, because it has converted itself resistant to the pesticides which was used continuously on that, and that new type of pest which is not dying for the same pesticide is called as a super pest. Okay, so the super pest can be coming up, and it might be really difficult to find out which is a pesticide which is going to kill the super pest there. So again, in the meanwhile, it can create a lot of problems for the crops. Okay, next we have biomagnification. The pesticides which we are using are non-biodegradable. They do not get degraded. It cannot be decomposed by the microorganisms. So what happens is, in the ecological pyramid, it goes on getting concentrated from one trophic level to the other. For example, DDT, if you take, DDT is one of the pesticides which was used, and this goes and reaches, as we know, the pesticides, fertilizers, herbicides can go and reach the water bodies very easily from the agricultural fields. From the fields, irrigation is done to the water. These are soluble and will go into the water. From the water, it goes into the plants, as well as it can go into the fishes. Okay, so already you're adding DDT which will go into the plants, and also through the water it can go into the fishes, and which both are consumed by human beings or any other animals. So what happens from the plants to the primary consumers to the secondary to tertiary consumers, the concentration of this particular pesticides goes on increasing, and this is called as biomagnification. So biomagnification of pesticides also can take place. Okay, then we have risk of cancer. The substance or the chemicals which we are using in pesticides can be carcinogenic. Carcinogenic means those chemicals which can be causing cancer. Okay, so it directly acts as carcinogenic or indirectly supports the immune system, or it will weaken our immune system so that we can develop cancer if pesticides are carcinogenic. Okay, so that's about the other effects of modern agriculture. Next, we have case study of pesticides in India. First one, in Delhi, the accumulation of pesticides in the body led a mother to give birth to premature babies with low birth weight. Okay, so the pesticides which were used, which leads to the premature birth or premature delivery of the child, as well as the birth weight is really low. And one more thing, that is pesticides in Pepsi and Coca-Cola in India has reported that Pepsi and Coca-Cola companies are selling soft drinks with pesticide content of 30 to 40 times higher than EU limits, that it damages the nervous system. So these are the two case studies which is there in India. So I hope you have understood today's class. Thank you, my dear children. Stay tuned for more updates.